everyone, and welcome to the Wensleydale Experience. We are here in the heart of Swinnerthwaite, which is in Wensleydale in the Yorkshire Dales National Park, and we're a working farm here, so we offer farm tours every day and farm experiences as well. So our farm tours are about an hour and a half long, and we take you all around the farm. You get to meet all our different animals, both native breeds and international breeds as well. Our farm experiences are a half-day activity, and you get to go to all the different parts of the estate, up onto the high tops and the moors, and see all our animals up there as well. They also involve a rather tasty breakfast or afternoon tea at our on-site cafe, so that's a very tasty treat to consider. So as I say, we're a working farm. We also diversified some of our land into glamping, so we have 5 luxury yurts, which you could possibly see in the woodland behind me. We also have an 18th century circular temple folly that's been converted into accommodation. So we're really excited to be here as part of the Open Farm Sunday. It's something that we've worked on for the previous few years and we're really passionate about. That word passionate gets bandied about a lot, but we really are. We think it's so important that farmers talk openly, transparently, and most of all authentically about where their food comes from, about how we get things from pen to plate, where our crops come from, where our trees come from that are burned for biomass as a super green fuel to keep us all warm. And so we're really, really excited to be part of Leaf Open Farm Sunday today. So I'm going to hand you over now to Tim, who's going to take you on your virtual farm tour today.
Hello everybody, welcome to Wensleydale. Just wanted to show you one or two of our animals this morning on our virtual farm tour as part of Leaf Open Farm Sunday. The first animals we're going to see is one of our sows. Let's come a bit closer and have a look here. This is one of our sows. She's a Hampshire cross Berkshire. Mum was a Berkshire, her dad was a Hampshire. One of the main things we need to remember about us here, two parts of our enterprise. We are not an intensive pig farm. Far from it an intensive pig farm. We have a few pigs, two parts of it really. We've got the pigs. One, we do part of the experience, which is our mission to educate and show people about pork and where pork comes from. But we do have to be commercially viable. We're not a charity. These guys have to make us some money to cover their own costs, if nothing else. This is one of our pigs here, as you can see, it's probably not very photogenic. So, Auntie here has had 13 piglets. This is their 5-week birthday today, so they're 5 weeks old today. She did have 13 piglets. Now, unfortunately, one of those died. We think she laid on it, so we took it away, and then 2 just disappeared. What we presume happened to those 2? We presume that they died. She possibly laid on them, and then she's eaten them. Now that sounds really, really harsh, but if you consider in the wild, that pig would then lay down, it would just die in the nest, and then the pig would start rotting, and then bring flies and disease and everything else into the nest.
I suppose it's a little bit part of, trying to get the energy back into the food chain. If a piglet's died, she doesn't waste it, does she?
That's true as well, yeah, that's true as well, but we don't want any diseases coming into the pigs. Now, one thing about what Steph points out there, that is pigs can eat meat. Pigs their bodies are evolved to eat meat. They can eat meat and vegetables and vegetation, but we just feed them, we're not allowed to feed them any meat, so we just feed them vegetables. They get a lot of apples at this time of year.
And is that because they don't want diseases getting into the human food chain?
Yeah, that came back. I mean, pig farms used to feed swill, and that had more or less disappeared before foot and mouth in the year 2001. And when foot and mouth came, that was traced back to potentially somebody with feeding pig swill to pigs. And I think it's been more or less banished since then. But it's not something most small pig farms would do.
This piglets that we're filming now is trying to accommodate some of Mum's food. So we start them off when they're very young. They usually just sort of have milk from Mum. But quite early on, how many weeks, Tim? We start to sort of supplement them with a little bit of...
10 days, yeah, about 10 days old we'll start.
We supplement them with very, very tiny pellets. But the piglets tend to want to eat what Mum wants to eat. So they quite often compete for things, don't they?
Yeah, they're very competitive.
As you can see, Mum's teats are really full with milk. She's a really good mum, his auntie.
Yeah, so the piglets will stay on her about 8 or 9 weeks. Now, that's quite a long time. Most intensive commercial units, they'll wean at 3 weeks old. But we keep them on a lot more. We're a lot slower growing. We keep them on for about 8 weeks. And at that point, we wean them off. To be fair, after 8 weeks of looking after 10 piglets, the sows are really quite happy to be leaving them behind.
It's really interesting for pigs. So like with humans, both our breasts express milk, however many children we have. But in pigs, it's quite interesting because only the number of teats for the number of piglets they have actually get turgid and express milk.
So if you see that one there, it's probably not got any milk in it, but that one there has. Get the milk out.
So that's an interesting difference between humans and pigs.
Now we've all heard the old adage that pigs are dirty animals. That couldn't be further from the truth. In all the farm animals we have in this country, pigs are by far the cleanest. If you come down here, you can see where she's been pooing down here. So every day, every feeding, we feed her morning and night. We clear her poo up. And if you look very carefully, which I can't actually see, if you look down there. That's piglet poo.
That's a tiny piglet poo.
Now, much as that might not sound too exciting, but the piglets have been pooing in this corner. Following their mum's advice, they've been pooing in here since they were a week old.
So basically, wherever Mum's pooped, they've chosen the same spot for the bathroom. So it's like they know where they're supposed to go.
So yeah, all our pork. We're not very intensive. If you went onto an intensive unit, you would see lots and lots of pink pigs. Our pigs are a bit more crossbred, a bit more traditional breeds.
So is that why they're so colourful?
That's why they're so colourful. We'll talk about breeds as we get on. But all our pigs go to a guy called Ed, and Ed runs Yorkshire Woodland Pigs. We'll put a link to it on our Facebook site afterwards. He runs Yorkshire Woodland Pigs, and their business is clearing woodland using pigs. So he puts pigs into the wood, they clean all the undergrowth away and clean it out so the wood's nice and clean in the floor.
It's actually amazing how quickly pigs can clear undergrowth. I think we had a spot in one of the gaths here, and you put them in, and it's probably maybe, how big would you say the space was?
Oh, a tennis court size.
And how quickly did they clear it?
From it had not had anything in it for about 3 years, and it was sort of up to here in undergrowth, and within 3 weeks, it was gone. They're amazing. They dig and they eat they eat roots, they'll eat plants, they'll eat all bugs and slugs and anything else like that. They really do get down and eat, and they make a fantastic job. So one thing about it though is because Ed's growing them in the wood, they don't grow very fast. It won't feed them a lot of concentrate, but they are eating lots of other things, but they grow very slowly. So when we've been fattening his own pigs and finishing them off, when boy pigs get to about 6 months old, they could develop a taste in the meat. It's sort of to do with testosterone going around the body, and it develops its taste in the meat. So we always have to get rid of as boy pigs, before they're 6 months old. Now Ed and Lexi, they're growing their pork really, really slowly. So the pigs aren't ready at 6 months old. So we need to have some other aspects of doing that. So these pigs here we've castrated. We castrated them all when they're a couple of days old. It's not a pleasant job for myself, but the pigs don't seem to worry about it too much. These are the first pigs we've castrated for a long time, so we did get the vet out to give us a bit of advice and a bit of a hand. And I said to Bridget, the boss, I said we ought to just have a look and see. We'd look really silly if they were all girls. And when we actually got to it, there is 1 girl out of here and 9 boys. So we had quite a long session castrating.
If anybody is curious as to what this little black piglet here is doing, they're actually all rooting for apples, which are buried in the straw. So one of the things that we do is, every year around this time of year, we have a windfall apple event. So if anybody that's local or even a little bit further away brings their apples to us, they get sausages in return at some point. So that's a really nice sort of circular way that the sort of farming economy works. You know, if you get helped out by food and lovely things like that, you know, in the end you'll get a nice few plate of sausages for your breakfast.
Yeah, and it works really well because most people with an apple tree in the garden, the windfall apples fall off and then just rot away.
So we've got a question now. So one thing we forgot to mention was, please send any of your questions during the farm tour in as comments and we'll try and get to them. So we've got one question from Cedric. Are any plants poisonous to pigs?
Yes, I would think they are, and certainly one thing that is, interestingly, is rhubarb leaves. I'm not sure, I couldn't give you a definite list of plants that are poisonous. I would think a Google search would do that, but certainly rhubarb leaves are. So if you have pigs, don't feed them rhubarb leaves. I think, and I'm not 100% certain, but I think rhubarb itself, the stems, are okay. But don't quote me on that. If you've got pigs, just have a bit of a check-up first. Can we have a look at the door?
Yeah, so that's Auntie and her piglets that we've introduced you to there. So now we're going to go to the pen next door.
We're just going to give Auntie some water. Auntie's got a drinker. She has got a drinker here, which works. She can get access all together, but there's not a lot of pressure. So we give her some extra water. If she's lactating, she needs extra water. So we just give her a bit every morning and night. And the piglets can come and have a little drink as they're growing up. They probably won't drink a lot, but it's really good to have it there in case. Right, we're going to...
All right, so I'm going to leave you in the hands of Tim now while I go off to get some extra special guests.
Right, so we're going to come and see the next pig we're going to look at. This pig is called Countess. Bear with me a moment. And Countess is a Berkshire. So she's a Berkshire pig. Come from, obviously, the native to Berkshire in the south. I think it's south somewhere. She's a Berkshire. She's had... I think this will be her 4th pregnancy she's in now, and she's due to farrow a couple of weeks. She's not far away, maybe in the next 2 weeks anyway. So she's due to farrow in a couple of weeks. She's in pig with our boar. Now the Berkshires, as you can see, she's got a really pointed snout. They're called the lady of pigs. The really good mannered, really pleasant. She's not eating very well there. Now the Berkshires are a really good smallholders pig because they're very friendly, and they're all black. They're not a very big pig, but they're all black, and they've got white feet, a white tip to the tail, and a white snout. So the pig we've just looked at, Auntie, which is this pig over here. Now her mum was a Berkshire and her dad was a Hampshire. So the Hampshire breed it's more of an American breed. It started off in Hampshire in this country, but the Americans took hold of it and took it across to America and probably improved it a lot. And then it's sort of coming back over here now. Now we have had a question about... oh yes, we've got Dave Goff, and he's actually in Berkshire. Hello, Dave. We've got somebody asked, and I've lost where it is now. What environment benefits can these piggies deliver us? Well, Tony William Powell, they are producing meat, which is obviously a good thing. They're producing meat in woodland. So if you think about woodland, we're not able to produce a lot of food in woodlands. Certainly on the ground in woodlands, we're not able to produce that food there. But these guys can convert the stuff that's growing on the ground into food. So from that environmental way, they are producing, they are converting something which we can't use into something that we can. We've got, let me just look through some more questions. I've just seen another. So, Annabelle Smith, how many years have you had pigs on the farm? So the area, the village we live in, the hamlet we live in, and we're here in, is called Swinithwaite. Now, Swinithwaite is a very old hamlet. It dates back years and years and years. But the word swinny means swine, and I think it means something around the place of swine. So I would think Swinithwaite. We've had pigs in this area on this farm for a long, potentially potentially centuries. Have we got any more questions on here? We've got Dave Goffles in Berkshire. Hello, Dave. Yes, so what else can we tell you about? So, pigs, Countess here, she's pregnant. Real interesting thing about pigs, if anybody knows, it's quite a good one to remember. They're pregnant for 3 months, 3 weeks and 3 days. That's, I don't know how it comes around. I think it's about 114 days, but they really tend to stick to the date as well. Now, a lot of commercial farms, more commercial farms, they'll inseminate and they'll have all their pigs. They'll be inseminated and ready to farrow on the same day of the week. Right, we've got some more animals here. I'm just going to hand you back to Steph.
Animals? Don't you mean extra special star guests? So these are Tiger and Traffic. These are our Coon pigs, so they're all the way from New Zealand as a breed. They're brother and sister, so Traffic Light's at the back and Tiger's at the front. I call him Tiger King because of the popular Netflix show, but it's not his real name. So Tiger loves to have a salad. Whenever he walks this way, he goes straight for the grass and has a nice mouthful, just to keep him on as a little starter before his main course of his food. So this is the food that we feed them as their staple diet, supplemented with various different things, such as apples at windfall season. So can you tell us a little bit more about the food, Tim?
Yeah, so the food here, just bet you'll keep talking a second.
This is Traffic. She's just having a salad as well and a little wee. Oh, and Tiger's going for his favourite apple tree, so we're just going to head him off at the pass there. Go on, Tiger, good lad. So Traffic's coming now, so she's bringing up the rear. They're really good. They both they know where they live. They sort of go out in the woodland during the day and have a little forage and have a lovely organic time out there, and then they come in at night just to keep them safe. But they both know the way and they're really good at walking. They like getting out, getting a bit of exercise. They also like to just have a snooze during the day, like most of us do. So yeah, you were telling us about our food, Tim.
So food, this is the food that we're feeding the pigs. This is sour rolls. They're made up of lots of different components. So if you look at this food here, this is actually a course ration. This is our goat's food actually. But it's just for an example. You see, there's lots of different things in it. There's barley. That'll be a protein pellet. That's probably corn. There's maize, oats. Lots of different things mixed up. So that's a course ration. But to get it into something we can feed the pigs and it keeps it. If you have large quantities of that, it can separate out. So all the one sort of bits go to one part of the bin and other parts go to the other.
Yeah, all the big bits sink and all the small bits come to the top.
Vice versa, I can never remember which way. So what we do, or what the people at the mill do, they grind that down into a really fine powder. Then they mix it with molasses. So molasses
just gives it a bit of sweetness, doesn't it, I suppose?
Molasses, if you don't know what molasses is, it's a byproduct of the sugar industry. It's really black and thick, but it's not dissimilar to...
A bit like treacle.
Golden syrup, golden syrup. They mix it with that. It's really nice and hot. And then they squash it through a machine, which is not dissimilar to the ones that you might have at home for your Play-Doh. You get the Play-Doh that little children have, and they wind the little handle and the person's hair grows out as the Play-Doh's going through. It's virtually the same. And as it goes through this sieve, that's obviously that round, they drop off and then cool down, and then we've got food. But if we get that one little bit of that, is everything there mixed up at the exact right volumes, so we know they're getting exactly the right stuff. So we'll just talk a bit more about Tiger and Traffic. Oh, they're gone.
That's it. They know that the food's in there, so they've run away to have the food, and they know they've got a little treat of apples for today. So as we were mentioning earlier, we're living on the Swinithwaite estate, and you can also see right across the dale, if you could just squint in the distance, right in the centre, I'll point with my finger, hang on. there. That's Bolton Castle. That lies right across the dale. And as you can see, we are blessed with some rather spectacular views around here. So that's a lovely part of working here. Okay, so now we're going to move on to one of our other pigs. This is Sherlock.
Yeah, pig, come on.
So Sherlock is our boa. And he seems to be following me. He's actually the dad of the piglets that we've just seen. And he's a beast of an animal. He's a proper side of pork, as they say. He loves apples, just like all our pigs, as you can see. So you want to tell us a bit about him, Tim?
So this is Sherlock. He's our boar. He's, as you can see, he's quite a big lad. He's about 5 years old. He's a cross. Now, in a perfect world, if you're farming, you would buy the best
good lad.
boar you could, the best male animals you could. And that would generally be the one breed. But Sherlock here is a breed, he's a crossbred. So he's got a few different breeds in him. He's part Duroc, which is an old-fashioned, a really old breed. It's an American breed, but that is the basis of quite a lot of the modern breeds is a Duroc. He's part Duroc. He's part Hampshire, which is the breed that we saw the sow earlier, and the sow with the piglets. Her dad was a Hampshire, so he's part Hampshire as well. And Hampshire's a really old breed, but again, it's been a basis for a lot of the more modern breeds. I think we're going to have to just go.
Go on, lad. This way. This way. Here you go. You can see he's a very spotty pig, so he's got a very spotty coat. And if you remember, some of our piglets were super spotty as well. So that's some of his genes coming to the fore with colouring.
The spottiness, Steph, comes from he has got a bit of Gloucester spot in him as well. So you can see he's got the spots, and he's also got the loppy ears. So Gloucester spots have the loppy ears.
Do you mean floppy?
Well, floppy, loppy. Yeah, can you see?
Good lad.
Now, in a perfect world, he wouldn't be on his own. We only have the couple of the sows on. We've got some younger gilts coming on that will go to the boar eventually, but at the moment we've just got the 2 sows. So he's on his own down here.
Because they are quite social animals, aren't they, really? And he's never on his own for long, because there's one sow farrows, the other sow sort of gets weaned off a piglet, so he's never on his own for long. Good lad.
You
can see the girth of his shoulders, though. He's a massive animal. He really is. But he's quite friendly, isn't he? And that's quite unusual sometimes in pigs.
Any male animals, be bulls, rams, tups, or boars, can be nasty. You've got to be very careful with any animal. You've got to have that confidence to be in there and know that you can get out of the way. But as all our animals, because we show people around, we have a lot of human interaction. We don't like to keep animals that are nasty, so we tend not to do. But by us handling animals a lot, they lose that nasty. You know, they tend to be nicer, pleasanter animals than if they weren't handled. Most commercial farms, they don't get that handling because they don't have time. I mean, it's not that they're not doing it, they're not being as caring as they are, but they just don't have time because they've got so many animals on. So, I mean, the other things that are going on the farm, the farm, we're actually on an estate here, so we're the home farm of the Swinithwaite Estate. So we've got several other farming enterprises, rent bits off us. The farm next door, the farm at the end of the village, they milk cows, they also have a lot of sheep. And their milk goes to the creameries at Horse, so if you buy proper Yorkshire Wensleydale, and when you buy Wensleydale cheese, you should always buy Yorkshire Wensleydale. That milk has to come from farms that are in Wensleydale. So their dents next door, their milk all goes there, and it gets turned into cheese.
There are quite a few enterprises on the site, though, aren't there? There's
one or two. I mean, there's
Healing Collective, they do complementary therapies. There's fairs at Berries, there are on-site farm shop and cafe that I mentioned earlier for the good afternoon teas. So it is a very nice little hive of industry here in a deceptively sleepy-looking hamlet in Swinithwaite.
It's very sleepy, yeah. But we do, like Steph said, we do farm tours, we do farm experience. Our real passion is about getting people here and getting them involved, showing them what goes on. We're not just an open farm where you can go and look round. We are a working farm where you can get involved, and that's our thing. We want people to come here, get involved, and learn where meat comes from. Learn why meat doesn't just come from the supermarkets. We need to know that it's coming from where it comes from, and it starts here and it ends there, and it's had a decent life in between.
Yeah, and obviously we're in the middle of an ongoing pandemic at the moment, but we have got super COVID-19 secure things in place. Everything's done with a risk assessment. We keep social distancing, we have frequent hand washing, and even though there's social distancing, you do still get super close to the animals, so it's very much well worth a visit.
So we give plenty of time for people. We give plenty of time when we're doing this farm tour so people can look. And as Steph said earlier, we have yurts and accommodation, so if you look us up on Facebook, you can see us from our website. There'll be a link on Facebook for our website, which is the Wensleydale-experience.com. We're going to put some details on about the pigs that we've looked at, about the different links to people. And yeah, that's us. We've really enjoyed being part of Open Farm Sunday 2020, part of the Leaf Open Farm Sunday initiative. And hopefully we'll be open next June. Hopefully we'll be able to encourage everybody to come and see us next June, and we'll be able to shake hands with people again.
So thanks very much everybody for watching. We've really appreciated it. We'll try and get to any comments after we've posted the video. So thanks very much for being a lovely interactive audience, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.